What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. Greetings, and salutations to you all. Back with another reaction video from the YouTuber, the YouTube channel called Scap Attack. I have done a handful of Scap Attack reaction videos. Great channel, great editing skills, great content from a range of different topics. So go check out Scap Attack and show that channel some love if you have not already. Okay, when winning didn't matter, LeBron and the era that destroyed the NBA. I'm sure he's going to look at it from some angles that I haven't really thought about this topic from. But for me, this current era of basketball, for me, is the least entertaining and the ugliest basketball I can remember watching. For me, just because games are low scoring and there's more defense, you know, back in eras of the past, like the late 90s into the early 2000s, mid-ish 2000s, that doesn't mean it's ugly basketball. It's competitive. It's physical, more physical. There were more, back in prior eras, there were more teams that were stylistically unique. Not every team was playing the same way. I used to look forward to certain teams playing each other because I was like, I can't wait to see this matchup. There's not so much player matchups, but how the teams, the play style of the teams combat each other, right? The Greg Popovich system, passing the ball, finding the open player, making an extra pass. The Phil Jackson triangle, Kobe Shaq triangle style, right? Try to slow down every team, keep the game in the half court, run a triangle offense, create mismatches, right? Sacramento Kings style of play, run and gun, get them shots up, a lot of pick and pop, a lot of pick and roll, things like that. But anyway, let's see what Scap Attack has to say. Let's get into this. Salute to Scap Attack. Much respect. Let's get into it.
Throughout the history of organized sports, one goal has always stood above all others. It wasn't about how dominant you were, what kind of statistical output you produced. No, the most important thing in any game, sport, or activity has always been winning. And of the major organized professional sports, winning has always been the most meaningful in the basketball world. In the sport of basketball, all-time greats are less dependent on others than in any other sport. As in other sports, even for the most important of positions, you typically play only one half of the game, and in some instances, as little as a third. In basketball, however, great players are singularly in control of their own destiny substantially more than in any other sport. You can be on the court every minute of the game. You have the ability to dominate the ball from a usage standpoint, and you can significantly impose your will, both offensively and defensively. No, make no mistake, in professional basketball history, the burden of winning fell heavier on the all-time greats than in any other sport. Therefore, winning was the most important metric to determining all-time hierarchical individual greatness. Of course, we're talking about the GOAT, greatest player of all time. A debate waging in barbershops, street courts, and bars since the dawn of basketball history. A debate that continues to this day on national airwaves and all the way down to every 16-year-old on Twitter. But the complexity of this debate has changed drastically as of late. Somewhere along the way, winning stopped mattering. It stopped mattering when society started dishing out participation trophies. But most importantly, as it pertains to the NBA, It stopped mattering when this era's alleged greatest players couldn't win. Rather than change the way we view those players, we decided to change the way we have evaluated players from the earliest points in NBA history. And the importance of winning, and winning a significant amount of titles, began almost as early as the sport of basketball itself. Professional basketball has roots dating back in the United States of America as early as 1947. The first dynastic team rose to prominence when the Minneapolis Lakers, led by George Mikan, won their first championship in 1950, starting a run of 5 championships over the next 6 years. Then, in 1957, the greatest dynasty in basketball history would begin, with Bill Russell's Boston Celtics winning their first championship. From that 1957 season, and spanning all the way through 1969, the Celtics won 11 of the next 13 NBA titles, with Bill Russell winning 5 league MVPs along the way. The ABA and NBA would merge in 1976, giving birth to the modern era of NBA basketball. And in back-to-back drafts in 1978 and 1979, the Larry Bird Magic Johnson era would begin. And between the two of them, they would place a stranglehold on the 80s, with Bird appearing in 5 finals in the decade, winning 3, while Magic and Kareem would appear in 8 together and win 5. Of course, the next great winner would emerge in the 90s in the form of basketball perfection, a high-flying maestro who was both as aesthetically pleasing as he was brutally efficient, the most lethal offensive weapon in basketball history, as well as the best perimeter defender in the sport. No wonder Michael Jordan would win 6 straight championships when he started and played a full season throughout the 90s. And next up would be his most similar copy in the form of Kobe Bryant, appearing in 7 finals from 1999 to 2010 and winning 5 of them. During that same concurrent era, another all-time great in Tim Duncan would emerge, and he would win 5 titles of his own. Along the way throughout NBA history, within and around these great winners, there have been an endless array of other great individual players, none more prominent than Wilt Chamberlain, whose entire career overlapped that of Bill Russell. When Wilt Chamberlain retired, he was the all-time leading scorer in basketball history, along with being the sport's all-time rebounding king. Chamberlain also, at the time, had the highest career scoring average in NBA history, posting outrageous career averages of 30 points per game, 23 rebounds, and 4 assists. Whatever LeBron James has become in this era from a statistical standpoint, he paled in comparison to that of Chamberlain. And yet Wilt has never been considered the GOAT, instead overshadowed by Bill Russell within his own era. Russell, who averaged nearly half as many points per game as Wilt for his career. This was due to the fact Chamberlain won just 2 of his 6 NBA Finals appearances. He simply wasn't a winner. Even the NBA logo himself, Jerry West, has produced some of the most eye-popping statistical averages still to this very day, posting career averages of 27 points per game, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds, which closely mirror that of a certain self-proclaimed king. And despite being an all-star every year of his 14-year career, while taking his team to 9 finals appearances, not even the NBA's logo could approach GOAT status because he wasn't a winner, losing 8 of those 9 finals. What if I were to tell you Elgin Baylor has the 3rd highest scoring average in NBA history, behind only Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain? Don't hear his name pop up in many GOAT debates. And isn't it funny, we don't seem to see any debates on who the best power forward of all time is, despite Karl Malone averaging more points, rebounds, and assists per game than Tim Duncan, because Malone wasn't a winner, and Duncan was. But in this era, where the media anointed a teenager as the chosen one, they've deployed every possible tactic and made every imaginable excuse as to why he hasn't been able to win more. In this era, we even call a player who has managed one career finals appearance in an 18-year career a god.
He is the point god. Honestly,
LeBron James's statistical accomplishments should not be washed away, just like Will Chamberlain shouldn't be, or Jerry West, or Karl Malone for that matter. And LeBron does have 4 championships, but he has also lost 6 of the 10 finals he has appeared in. He has a 22-33 career finals record. Those things cannot be washed away either, not with the vast historical precedents we have of hoisting up the winners above the rest. James has team jumped 3 times in his career to stack his roster and maximize his winning potential. He has played with, at the very least, as many elite, high-end Hall of Famers and perennial all-stars as any of the other all-time greats, if not more. This is while LeBron has played longer, and in many cases, substantially longer, than mostly all of the other greats he is compared with. His 1,703 total games played in the regular season and playoffs is 137 more than Kobe Bryant, 452 more than Michael Jordan, and nearly 600 more games played than Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird, all to win, in most cases, less. And yet, here we are, supposedly raising this player up amongst all the rest.
what?
In an era where he didn't even produce the most dominant dynastic team. The Golden State Warriors are the greatest dynasty of the LeBron James era, going to 6 finals in 8 years, right in the heart of LeBron's prime, winning 4 titles and beating James head-to-head for 3 of those 4 rings.
Is this your game?
James has not been the winningest player of this era. He has not produced the most dominant team. And despite his collection of longevity stats, he isn't even the most individually dominant. Kevin Durant has the highest scoring average of the LeBron era. Kevin Durant has led the league in scoring 4 times. LeBron James has led the NBA in scoring once in 20 years. And he's led the NBA in assists once in 20 years. Russell Westbrook, in this same era, has 2 career scoring crowns and is a 3-time assist leader, while averaging a triple-double for a season 4 times. LeBron James's career statistical achievements, coupled with the totality of his resume, dictate his inclusion with the all-time greats. But it is impossible for him to ever be remotely considered the greatest. Sorry, witnesses, but that designation is reserved for the best of the best, the greatest of the winners. And despite whatever fantastical excuses you wish to deploy, that simply has never been and never will be the story of LeBron James.
Well done, well done, well done. Bravo, 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 bravo by Scap Attack. Now listen, he brings up a very good point. It has the opinion and how a lot of people view things and evaluate things has changed as the years went by to cater to a particular era or specific players within that era, which is true. I can't lie about that. No disrespect against Chris Paul. Like, I've grown fonder of Chris Paul over the years. But one thing I've always said about Chris Paul is why selectively this guy, and maybe especially comparing to his contemporaries even at his position, it's like Chris Paul, they keep saying he's a winner, he's a winner, he's a winner, he's a winner, he's a winner. Okay. But he's never won a championship. But other guys at his position that he's compared to that also haven't won a championship, but some of them may have even had more overall playoff success than him, they get their names slandered. And for this guy, it's like, we don't care about this, we don't care about that. Get it done, get it done, get it done. We don't care. We don't care. Get it done. And then, for example, I don't usually see that same type of energy directed at Chris Paul or Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard got everybody's conned, man. Everybody conned. And this guy has, Damian Lillard hides behind like one or two playoff buzzer beaters and Dame time and loyalty. He hides behind that. I've already put out a video with all the stats that I supplied showing you, and I didn't need the stats. I know what I saw with my eyes, and I found the stats to back it up. And it was like, this guy has had some abysmal playoff performances and didn't show up when the team needed him to, when he had a good squad. There's this narrative going around that he's just always been on trash teams, which isn't the case. It's not. And like, the narrative is different for him. He's a winner, but he just has had zero help. That's not true. But you can go look at that Damian Lillard video to see how I break it all down. Hell, nowadays we got players crying and bitching and complaining about not winning MVPs and personal awards every damn season, crying about it, sobbing, but for some reason they don't share that same energy, especially consistently, when it comes to their poor level of play and falling short in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Joel Embiid. I'm talking to you. Had all that to say about a damn MVP award. All right, you got your MVP award. Now, show us why you're the MVP. Never mind. I'm going to call it in for the night. You got this, everybody else. See you next season. What? And yes, I don't disagree with his LeBron take. That's one thing when I evaluate these players and I rank them. Yes, it's amazing LeBron James has played this long and is playing this long. A testament to his health, body of work, longevity. But when I also consider that you're still playing at the high level, and also for LeBron and other players, that the game has evolved in a way, lucky for them, that it has catered to players that are declining in age, especially ones that are still in good shape, where they can still be effective in this league, even though being somewhat of a lesser version than themselves, right? Considering his size and all the small ball lineups, he can still go into the paint and thrive even at his age. He's not usually getting met with big bodies. And then the spacing now, he can shoot more freely than he could before. But anyway, I look at, you've been playing long, so you going into year 21 now, but I'm looking at players that played 13 years, that played 12 years, that has still had significantly more success than you, especially when it comes to championships, and they weren't in control of their own destiny like you are. You have manufactured a lot of your situations, a lot of your teams, handpick your teammates, try to run the table in your conference, in your division, handpicking who you wanted to be with. Like, you've had so much control over your destiny, whereas a lot of players in the past didn't, and you've played 7, 8, 9 years longer than them, and you're still chasing some of these guys in some major bullet points. That's one thing I do look at. I do. And I take into consideration everything. I was like, well, okay, if LeBron James had, 3-4 seasons where he was out with injury, I won't even really count that against him. Let's just say he played, 15 years instead of 20 because of injuries. But he's been relatively healthy his entire career. No major injuries. I take that into consideration. Like when Jordan broke his leg that season. I mean, it's like, well, when you think about it, he lost the season, and then his retirement. Larry Bird, he missed damn near an entire season. I take that stuff into consideration. You never know what could have happened just for an individual, just if it's just individual records or team success and or. But anyway, winning used to be everything, man. Everything. And I'm not saying that there are some players today that really do care about winning more than anything, especially we're talking players that play at a high caliber level, like an all-star level player or higher. There are still some, but there's not many, as opposed to back in the day, man. Obviously, everybody wants to get their money. They feel like they should get what they're paid for. But players prioritize winning more back then than they do now. That's just the feeling I get in seeing how players conduct themselves now. Seeing players' mannerisms, seeing their body language, things that come out of their mouth, players not wanting to take accountability, deflecting blame, stuff like that. It's like these guys don't care about it. They don't. Put it in, man. Put the work in. Even if you fall short and you show me that you care, I can respect that, man. I can respect that. Now, Chris Paul cares about winning. I'm not talking about Chris Paul. He's not one of those guys. I think Chris Paul, he hasn't done it yet at a championship level in the NBA, but I know Chris Paul cares about winning. And to care about winning because you want to be a champion. You want the feeling of being at the top after the long, tumultuous grind. For me, if I build a super team, whereas there isn't many super teams to compete against, especially in my conference, and I'm basically shoehorning myself at least into the finals and anything can happen from there, I wouldn't feel as good about that. It's almost like I'm just winning to check a box and just winning to get people off my back. For me, it wouldn't feel the same, but maybe for others, it would feel just as appeasing. I don't know. Part of what makes the taste of victory, the taste of winning a championship so sweet is the grind, the entire grind, the competition, the down times, the good times, all that stuff, the journey that you went through to get this far and make it all worth it. Make it all worth it. But I remember when, for example, the Miami Heat Big Three assembled, not verbatim, but LeBron said something along the lines of, now that us three are together, we're going to be unstoppable. It's going to be so hard for people to guard us. Essentially saying that we've made it very easy for ourselves. Good luck trying to figure us out. That's what I drew from what he was. That's basically what he was saying. And I was like, what the hell? Like, that's some sucker shit, man. That's some sucker shit. And of course, it creates an effect, right? It creates an effect. And now, to combat that, you get another super team created by Kevin Durant joining the Warriors. And then super teams after that, whether they failed or they won, created a chain reaction. Well, they said, hey, but the narrative changed with LeBron, right? Whereas in the beginning when the decision happened, it was like, oh, we're not going to respect your championship even if you win. This is some sucker stuff, blah, blah, blah. But then the narrative started changing and all of a sudden it was okay. And once Kevin Durant saw that, he was like, well, nobody still talks about LeBron bad. They now give him all the credit in the world for those championships with the Miami Heat, even though that wasn't the initial reaction. So, hell, I'm going to go do it too. I'll be okay. That was his take. It was like, well, LeBron did it. Anyway. The mindset, the opinion, the how we weigh winning, it has changed for a lot of people. It has. It really has. And even inside the NBA, the players, they just don't view winning the same way. They want everything that comes with being a basketball player. The woman, the money, the notoriety, the fame, the cars, the clubs, social media, the attention. They want all of that. And they'll put some of that or all of that ahead of making sure you're getting the job done at work and putting in the work in the off time, which is sad. It's disrespectful to the consumer base, whether viewing from TV or the fan bases putting their butts in the seat, paying their hard-earned money for expensive-ass tickets. And you're telling me I got players on my team, especially leaders on my team, that don't value winning, and I'm here to see my team win, rooting for them, supporting them, with my earned revenue to dump into their league, and I'm not getting that same type of passion back? Feel some type of way about that. Ticket prices are too expensive now. And the consumers are paying these guys' salaries at the end of the day. If people really want to do something about that, we should just boycott. Stop going to games. Stop watching games. When y'all start caring and really wanting to win, we'll start paying. We'll come back and, you'll get more money. But we should tap into their pockets. It'll never happen, but I'd like to see it. Players of the past valued winning more. And I'm going to leave on this note. Kobe Bryant, one of the fiercest competitors to ever play the game. One of the greatest players to ever play the game. My favorite player of all time. Kobe Bryant, and anybody that knows basketball and watch this guy plays, knows that he cared about winning more than anything. Yes, he wanted to be the leader of the team in winning a championship. Yes, at times he'd do it his way or felt like he had to do it his way, but he always cared about winning more than anything else. And I'll never forget the 2001 All-Star Game, the greatest All-Star Game of all time, back when players actually played defense in All-Star games and they cared about the outcome in All-Star games. That game, the West was beating the East ass, led by Stephon Marbury, Allen Iverson, Vince Carter. T-Mac hit a big shot in the fourth quarter. Dikembe Mutombo's defense, led by a fourth quarter charge by the Eastern Conference. They came back and won the game in the final seconds. They beat the West. And the look on Kobe Bryant's face after losing that game, after losing that lead, despite him putting up hella clutch baskets by himself, going toe-to-toe with Stephon Marbury in those final seconds. Clutch basket after clutch basket, shooting over Mutombo, double teams, everything. After losing that game, the look on Kobe Bryant's face over a loss in an All-Star game, he was furious. He was pissed. And that was just an All-Star game. He wanted to win more than anything. He cherished competition. He cherished victories, the sweet taste of victory. You don't believe me? Here's his face after they lost the All-Star game. Look how pissed he is. Kobe wasn't effing around. All-Star game isn't just some regular ass All-Star game to him where it's just our time to take a break. Kobe thought that we don't see these players from the other conference often, twice a year, that's it. So whenever we have an opportunity to get on the floor with the best players on the floor, we should want to compete and show that our conference is better than your conference. Put my skills against your skills. Give the fans a show, but be competitive. That's what he believed. Nobody's looking like this over a loss at an All-Star game now. Nobody. He was pissed. Cared about winning. Players of the past, as a whole, cared about winning more. That's how I'm going to end this. Let me know what you think about it. Scap Attack, I appreciate this video. This was absolutely great. Great for shedding light. Thank you for shedding light on all of this and putting things into their proper perspective. Y'all go check out Scap Attack, no question about it. Let me know what you think about it. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and I'll catch you on the next one. We out, baby.